Hey guys, Koizi here, and despite all the garbage that happened in 2022, there's still good things that got me through last year, such as having the biggest year for Sonic the Hedgehog in a long time, Democrats keeping the Senate and about to pass more good laws down the line, Ash Ketchum finally becoming the world's greatest Pokemon master, while passing down his journey to a duo of new protagonists in the process, freeing another Britney, the Pride community being more vocal than ever, theatrical releases slowly coming back, and so much more. But, more specifically, 2022 was one of the greatest years for animated features in history. The grand majority of animated features there range from just good to absolute masterpieces, so I'm going to mention every single one of them in this video. This year was so good for animated features that we'll be having ties on this list. To love them, hey. I'm Koizi, and this is the top 10 best animated films of 2022.
We're not the bad guys. We're the good guys. No. Trust me. Here we go. I just want you to give me a chance. I know your body really wants to dance. So leave your judgments at the door.
Before we get to number 10, I did say we're about to mention every good movie that animation has offered in 2022. So how about we give 5 honorable mentions to the animated films that are just good. That way, the list itself can go up to the masterpieces. The honorable mentions for this list are Apollo 10 and a Half, A Space-Age Childhood, Rotoscoping is back, and it gave us the best-looking bare feet in an animated film. Chicken Hare and the Hamster of Darkness, this film is a huge surprise for the studio that brought us the crappy wildlife in 2016. Definitely the best film from them so far. Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles the movie. I may have been too harsh on the TV show back in 2018, but I have cooled down on it since then, and their Netflix movie is as cowabunga as any other Ninja Turtles film. Except for 2007, we don't turtle talk about that. Wendell and Wild, a third Halloween classic from Henry Selick that turns Key and Peele into a pair of demons for someone whose parents died, just like almost every animated protagonist you can think of. And last but not least, and the biggest surprise of the year, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules. Wow, what an improvement on the 2021 remake. It's just longer, funnier, more heartwarming, more engaging, and overall, a fun sequel and a better version of the cringy live-action movie from 2011. Anyways, let's get this New Year's celebration of last year's animated movies started. How ironic that I used background footage of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 in the intro, since that is also a hybrid movie, and both of these two movies have Sonic in them. This one has Ugly Sonic. Okay, I may have not seen the Disney Afternoon show, but I am an animation fan, and as an animation fan, there's still a lot for me to enjoy in this Disney hybrid movie. First off, there is more animation in this film than live action, and the animation itself is gorgeous. There's a lot of great hand-drawn, some good stop-motion, surprisingly great CGI, a bit of anime that's more surprising in a Disney movie, and even some mocap for a good jab at the uncanny valley. The cel shading on the Rescue Rangers and Sweet Pete does a better job at making them look 2D than 2021's Tom and Jerry. Seriously, the CGI in that movie rather makes those animals look like custom video game mods, not 2D cartoons. The writing ain't the best I've seen from this type of movie, since the story is somewhat predictable, but the comedy makes it all worth it, even if I don't get the inside jokes that come from the DD series. There's plenty of references to almost everything else animation that I do get, and they go hard. The voice acting is obviously enjoyable, and everyone fits their roles well. Sure, it's not the best movie of the year, that's why it's only number 10 on this list, but for what it is an absolute tool blast, and it might as well be the best Disney Plus movie of 2022.
But good tonight. Wanna get you feeling right. We're gonna be good tonight. We're the good, good guys. We're gonna be good tonight. Wanna get you feeling right. We're gonna be good tonight. We're the good, good guys.
Looks like we're going from one streaming exclusive based on a TV show to another. The last one is from Mickey Mouse, and this one is from SpongeBob. Not saying that this is a Nickelodeon movie, but these two idiots and the sponge are both from Paramount, so... It has been 26 years since Beavis and Butthead have been on the big screen, and they got a nice upgrade for Paramount Plus. This movie is just as funny as Do America, and it surprisingly has heartwarming moments between the title characters. I didn't expect that from a couple of ding-dongs who just won a score. The animation looks way smoother than both the first film and the TV show. So much for using what Jeffrey Katzenberg would call tradigital animation. I would use that term for whatever people call flash animation, cause not all of that is done with Flash, or what it's now called Adobe Animate. Yeah, it's not as good as Do America, since it has some flaws like a very predictable story, but this movie still scored.
We're gonna be good tonight. Wanna get you feeling right. We're gonna be good tonight. We're the good, good guys. We're gonna be good tonight. Wanna get you feeling right. We're gonna be good tonight. We're the good, good guys.
Our first tie on this list, it's two animes that are both from Netflix. In the same release month as one DreamWorks movie that's later on this list, you have Bubble. It's a well-done modernized retelling of The Little Mermaid set during a huge post-apocalyptic race. It is big, immersive, intense, action-packed, and has master-class 2D animation and fun characters to root for. Then in September, you got Drifting Home. It's about this group of kids that are stuck in a floating apartment and are finding a way to, as the title suggests, drift back home. It also has master-class 2D animation and fun characters to root for, which consist of a brother and sister, a Miami girl and her bestie, two middle school teenagers, and a goth boy that's half-plant. Did I mention that the former has a surprising bit of product placement? Of course not. Product placement is the last thing that comes to mind when people think about anime. As the first time putting anime on my previous year ranking for animated features, I had a great start, and hopefully we get more streaming exclusive anime films with worldwide releases.
We're gonna be good tonight. Wanna get you feeling right. We're gonna be good tonight. We're the good, good guys. We're gonna be good tonight. Wanna get you feeling right. We're gonna be good tonight. We're the good, good guys.
Pixar has made their first spin-off, and ironically, they probably pulled off their own Puss in Boots. This movie is a great origin story for the fictional movie character that Buzz Lightyear was based on. It feels like Andy's equivalent to Star Wars with some great action and beautiful animation that creates a cool world of the Star Command. The twist villain might be similar to Rex Dangervest from the Lego Movie 2, but Emperor Zurg's twist was handled a lot better than Dangervest. Speaking of characters, everyone did a good job voicing their roles, especially Chris Evans. His voice acting of Buzz takes the Tim Allen voice and makes that more serious and Zack Snyder-esque. Maybe Tim got replaced because he was too busy with a Disney Plus series based on the Santa Claus, or because he was making bad jokes about wokeness that were never funny to begin with. Oh yeah, about the wokeness, why would anyone complain about a lesbian kiss that was only 2 freaking seconds? There's nothing about a same-sex kiss in an animated film that would actually hurt children, unlike stuff like Toddlers and Tires, or Powerpuff Girls 2016 that sexualized kids and teens and puts unhealthy beauty standards on those under 18. Sadly, this movie bombed at the box office due to competition with Jurassic World Dominion, so we wouldn't get any more spin-offs from Pixar, but at least they made one, and it went infinity and beyond.
We're gonna be be good tonight. Wanna get you feeling right. We're gonna be good tonight. We're the good guys. We're gonna be good tonight. Wanna get you feeling right. We're gonna be good tonight. We're the good guys.
Looks like we have another cartoon saloon movie that happens to come from a big streaming service. First Wolfwalkers, now this. I didn't enjoy that film as much as other people, but I can't say the same about this one. This is a children's book adaptation that actually feels like a children's book, unlike the Willoughbys, which just tries too hard to copy the Peanuts movie. The movie is hand-drawn animated in the style of those preschool books we all read as babies, and the look is spot on. Everything in this movie is an embodiment of a child's imagination. From the story of two buddies trying to save an island, to the chemistry between a boy and a talking dragon, to the flawed but innocent apes, to the depressing moments and the positive energy that balances it. If cartoon saloons gonna start making mainstream movies for streaming platforms, they might have to respect their traditions as much as their own. That's why this movie has a celebrity cast, which is a surprise for the studio. But the celebrities themselves did a fantastic job with their performances. All of this is a step in the right direction for them, and it's gonna get them more spotlight. Not all their streaming movies are going to be perfect, but I'm still happy for Cartoon Saloon that they finally get to work with the big guys in Hollywood.
We're gonna be good tonight. Wanna get you feeling right. We're gonna be good tonight. We're the good guys. We're gonna be good tonight. Wanna get you feeling right. We're gonna be good tonight. We're the good guys.
When they're not making the next big musical, Disney gets experimental with their original IPs. They made big cinema with video games, unleashed their own superhero team, told a story about politics with talking animals, and now they made a tribute to early 20th century sci-fi adventures. Like I mentioned on the worst list, I do like these types of animated movies that are action-packed and adventurous, but only when they're done right. This is one of them. Strange World is the opposite of the Sea Beast that actually has an original story about generational trauma and environmentalism, gorgeous animation that has monsters that look creative, characters that are more likable, and action that is better choreographed. The plot twist is all over the place, where you may think there's a good guy turned bad, but nope, it's something else. The twist villain is grass. Not a character, straight up grass. Also, this movie has a bigger gay rep than any Disney movie today by having the side plot focused on the character himself trying to impress a guy. That is some great writing for the Pride community, and this movie has some great everything else for a sci-fi flick.
We're gonna be good tonight. Wanna get you feeling right. We're gonna be good tonight. We're the good guys. We're gonna be good tonight. Wanna get you feeling right. We're gonna be good tonight. We're the good guys.
It's not just the two Christmas carols that came out in 2022, but we got 3 Pinocchios. The first one is a viral sensation because of bad voice acting. The second one is another one of those crappy live-action remakes that Disney keeps crapping out. And the third one is a passion project from the director of The Shape of Water. Thank goodness I skipped the first 2 Pinocchios, so I can witness a good Pinocchio. Cause oh boy is this a good Pinocchio. Sebastian Cricket said it best, you think you know the story, but you don't. This movie stays true to the Italian fairy tale and does its own thing at the same time. It takes place during World War II in the early 1940s and shows a dark side to Italy that's historically accurate. The design of Pinocchio gives off late 2000s punk vibes, especially when it's been in development since 2008. The only criticism I would put onto this film is the villain songs. Seriously, that guy cannot sing to save his own life. Everything else in this movie is a work of art, and I hope more live-action directors make animated movies like Del Toro did.
We're gonna be good tonight. Wanna get you feeling right. We're gonna be good tonight. We're the good be good tonight. Wanna get you feeling right. We're gonna be good tonight. We're the good guys.
Pixar is back on this list, and this time at number 3, they have something that's fully new from their first female solo director. The directorial debut of Donishi has kicked off her feature filmography with a huge bang by bringing a natural tween movie to life. It did a great job telling a story about puberty and tradition, knocking the comedy out of the park, animating a fresh look in the style of chibi anime, fleshing out characters old and young, all that jazz. This film wasn't even released in theaters, at least not a wide release, but it still managed to be more successful than Lightyear just with numbers on streaming. Speaking of which, alongside Encanto and Moana, Turning Red is the most watched movie on Disney+. You know what this Pixar movie reminds me of? There's this 2004 movie that has somewhat of a resemblance to this movie. Both of them have generational drama, a party, a concert, a message of being yourself, and a transition to being a teenager. If you guessed the movie I have been recommending for quite some time on my channel, you're correct. No, it's not Mean Girls, it's frickin' Sleepover. If you wanna see how that film and Turning Red are a bit alike, then please watch both movies back to back, especially Sleepover, which is on both Tubi and Freevee right now. Again, for Town Forever, dudes.
We're gonna be good tonight. Wanna get you feeling right. We're gonna be good tonight. We're the good guys. We're gonna be good tonight. Wanna get you feeling right. We're gonna be good tonight. We're the good guys.
Here comes another tie, but this time, it's literally two movies from the same animation studio that have similar reasons to why they are the second best animated film of the year. 2022 was the best year for DreamWorks animation in a long time, and it's obviously thanks to these two films. The Bad Guys is a heist comedy in the style of earlier DreamWorks parody films, which I miss from them very much. It used that formula in its own way, and it still works. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is a sequel to the 2011 spin-off that went through development hell to bring back something we assumed to be dead. That is the magic of Shrek, which is something that the third movie took away. It literally made a Shrek 5 sound like a great idea, as long as it follows suit to the spin-off sequel. They both have stories that are funny and easy to follow, touching themes that empower their entirety, animation that literally takes inspiration from Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse with great cel shading, action that is all around engaging, and characters that we'll instantly remember for generations to come. These two movies started a new age for DreamWorks that makes us hyped to see their films again. Maybe not Trolls Band Together for some people, but we're still excited for their upcoming films nonetheless.
We're all here to have a good time. Let the rhythm move you and open up your mind. Next time you see me in your neighborhood, don't you be thinking that I'm up to no good.
Let me tell you something. Back in 2007, I went to the theater to see The Simpsons movie, and that's one of the first movies I saw in theaters, which absolutely changed my life. I really wish I could say the same thing about watching the Bob's Burgers movie, cause this is The Simpsons movie 2.0. It has all the same ingredients that made Simpsons a delicious film adaptation with an engagingly original story that is contained, but action-packed, animation that surpasses both the TV show and even the Disney Renaissance, comedy that's like World War II for your giggle box, characters that were all well-written old and new, and a mission to bring fans and newcomers together to see an amazing film. That is something that's rarely done with these types of movies. Most of the time, animated movies based on TV shows have one goal, and that is to only appeal to the fans of its source material. If you're going for just one small group of people and make an extended episode of the series, that is bad filmmaking no matter what, cause you gotta extend to more audiences for something you're about to release in theaters or in a streaming platform. Looking at You, early 2000s TV adaptations. This movie is also a musical, and the soundtrack is Bussin' Bussin'. The Bob's Burgers movie opened the doors back up for other Fox animated series to get mainstream movies that use the same trick to bring something familiar for fans, but something new for others, and that makes it the #1 best animated film of 2022. And that's all I got for the top 10 best animated films of 2022. By the time I'm finishing the script for this video, we're already in 2023. This year has a massive shit ton of animated movies to get us hyped. There's so much good stuff coming out, like the Super Mario Bros. Movie, Across the Spider-Verse, Mutant Mayhem, Nimona, Wish, Elemental, and so much more that I don't even know if the year's gonna have a top 10 best animated films or just a top 15 animated films with no worst list. This is also the year I finally get to review animated movies like these on Letterboxd, so if you wanna go there to see my thoughts on every animated film of the year, all you do is click on my link tree in the description below, and one of its links will take you to the Letterboxd. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. This is Koizi, signing out.